So, good afternoon, everybody. Good to see you guys. Thank you for joining today. We're going to be going through, having a look at the books, seeing what's going on so far. Had a pretty crazy night last night. We had the Aussie budget, which was terrible, absolutely terrible, to be fair. So it's not good news for Australia. We had some risk sentiment switchovers as well overnight. Japanese yen got shaken out of quite a few things. We had one short to offset the long risk in the funds, which obviously triggered target. So that covered the losses. We had a euro. What did we have? I can't remember what we had. Let's have a look. What do we have? We had loads of things going on. So we were bullish on the Aussie yen. We were bullish on the CAD yen. And we took losses in both of those assets. The CAD yen in particular was a real kick in the chops because, my God, we came close to the target there. And seriously, this wasn't even overnight. And this one, the action didn't even kick off. The action kicked off at about 2 o'clock in the morning after the budget came out. But the CAD against the yen, we rallied actually to 109.079. We only had a TP. Sorry, that is the TP. We rallied to a pip away. Yeah, so like maybe 1.4 of a pip away. And we got taken out. So real shame. Real shame on the CJ side of things. Aussie yen was not quite as good. It wasn't terrible though. We got pretty close. 867 versus 928, so about 5 pips away from that one. And then absolutely smashed through the floor at around 2 o'clock in the evening for the same thing as well. And so a little bit of a shame on that front. So we took hits in the Aussie yen, took a hit in the CAD yen. So both of these knocked out. We can remove all the stuff from there. Turn off. CAD Swiss, as our pending in here. We had the breaker structure short, we had the BCR long, and we did have a stab at the long, not in terms of actually getting invested in it, but the market had a stab at it. We did punch a hole through liquidity. Came back down for the retest, but that one was failed. And then we came down here, came back up, then travelled for a while between these 2 points of liquidity. And then in this area here, got the short locked in. And that one went straight down to TP. And that was this morning actually, 7:15, that one hit target. We got the Euro Oz, which was a loss. We got knocked out of this one. And this one's a real shame. Yeah, I mean, losses are losses, wins are wins. At the end of the day, you don't get wrapped up in each individual one, as you well know. But this was a bit of a shame because we came real close. We came real close in the next couple of hours after triggering the trade. Bearing in mind, we fell down to a low of 162.57. Okay, so we're talking about 48 is the mark there, so 9 pips away from our target, and it came right back up. We hung out in this one for quite some time, and then it was actually on the budget. Bad news for the Australian dollar. Obviously, euro rallied against it straight the way through the stop overnight, so that was a loss as well, on the minus 0.25. Euro NZD, we got the secondary breaker structure trade way up here. We failed the retest of the first one. And so market retest came down to this point here, which I'm not disappointed with at all. I'm confident in our level of liquidity that we chose yesterday. This was definitely the right one. We never got a retest of this one. So that one came up to this area here at around 2:45 in the morning. We then got the breaker structure, which triggered the very high pending order up at this area. And then that one hit target this morning, very early hours as well, about 4:45. That one cleared the margin there. And now that one's kind of chilling, just sitting in the middle of this space. We'll come back and review these charts for fresh opportunities. But surprising that we didn't get the initial retest for the first trade idea on that one. Pound against the CAD, this one's running, one of our running orders at the moment. So currently trading 177.75. Failure to break and close above the liquidity here. I've mapped this out for everybody. So we know that this is a potential roadblock. We did get a really nice break close retest, good breaker structure, directly into the wall of a bit of liquidity here. Unfortunately, I drew this in after the fact, but nevertheless it is one. The bias for executing here is that we've cleared the major area here, and we've also got the breakout of this wave. Now, if we look on the daily charts here for a moment, we've got this nice rally up. Yes, we've hit this previous high, which is ultimately what we're targeting for the long trade. We've got this flag. We've actually broken structure early on this one. And so now I'm expecting there to be another go. And potentially for the pound CAD to break out. Now, make no mistake, this is an insane level of liquidity here. You're talking about cash rich in the markets. This would be a study case. That's what this would be. This would be a case study for individuals to articulate to others about the laws of supply and demand. It would be massive level of liquidity. So we are essentially trading into it. We're trading inside it. We have been for ages, because the size of this one is probably more like that, to be honest. Because remember, the chart's stretched out. Remember, for those of you who I've been in private discussions with in particular, I talked about the optical illusion almost of having a chart stretched out and stuff in comparison to just double clicking the margins and being able to look at what it looks like in real time. So that is the zone. As you can see, ridiculous size level of liquidity in here. Really neat. And what we're doing at the moment is all of our intraday trading is taking place inside a huge level of daily liquidity. So I'm not too worried about that. It's just good to know. It's good to know. Whoops. So just mark that one out on there, just so it can be clear still about what we're aiming for. So that's where that one is. Hopefully we'll get the break of structure here, and then we can continue our journey up to 178.43. We got the NZD JPY, another break of structure pending order from yesterday. Obviously the long came close to triggering quite a few times after the stream, 2:15. 4 o'clock in the evening. Again, we had another stab at it around 9 o'clock in the evening. Then again at around 1:30 in the morning. Failed all the way along, and then triggered the pending here at 2:45 and came down to hit target there at around 4:30. So that was a little trade, 2 candlestick win for a 1 to 2, 0.51% return. So that was a nice one as well. That one can now be removed. USD CAD. And this was our break close retest, relatively large trade. Did think it was probably going to be running for a while, this one. We're currently trading at 135.34. We're coming back down for the retest of liquidity. Now I can sort of thin that zone up, to be honest, now, because it was looking a bit messy. So that's just the retest of this pot of liquidity. So hopefully this one's going to be looking good. Now this UC has scaling opportunity. It's not going to have a lot, but what I'm planning for you guys, what I want to do, if you're not in the trade already, if you miss the entry, then you miss the entry. That is what it is. But there is a secondary opportunity upon the breaker structure. Now the breaker structure point for the entry is going to be here for the aggressive one. So then we're looking for a rejection liquidity, just like any trade that we would take. A breaker structure here, and then we're looking for that same target profit with your stop loss possibly where it is at the moment. You can, if you had the stop down there, trade wouldn't really work. You don't need to though. What we're looking for is ultimately the price action to come into liquidity and then push away. And then what we're looking for is to have this stop loss, underneath that area there. Now remember, if the breaker structure forms, if a new one forms down here, so for example, let me get this, if this becomes like a new structural point, so if the market comes underneath, forms a structural point here, then you can by all means, and this would be the better opportunity, take the breaker structure lower with your stop loss lower down here. Still same risk reward ratio, maybe a 0.2 better, But ultimately, you are getting the full scale of the supply and demand, the structural point and the liquidity point, both inside the stop loss. Now, this obviously yields a lot of benefits. So that's what we are aiming for if possible, but we don't always want to be working to that best case scenario because, as we know, the markets are the markets, and we are but a bunch of humble retail traders at the moment. So we've got to make do with what we've got. So that would be the plan for the second UC position. Now, in USD China, I was looking at this one before I came on session. As it happens, we've actually hit target profit on that one. So that's another one in the bag for a 1 to 2.06 for a 0.51% return. Again, I know this was exotic pair, but it's quite often in the past been accessible for a lot of people. So I've reintroduced that to the fund because frankly, I absolutely love the USD China. And it always moves really well. So that's good to have first trade in a long time in the China and it be a win. And then what else we got going on? We didn't have anything in the yen or the Sing. Then this morning, to recap, a little bit of a shit show in the DAX, guys, unfortunately. I was on good performance for you all this morning with a short for a 1 to 2.21, and that was great. And then I got cocky and wanted to buy back the market back up to this area here. Criteria and everything were absolutely fine. I mean, I say cocky kind of humorously, to be honest. It wasn't a cocky trade by any stretch. It followed the parameters perfectly, but unfortunately the market did not want to go back. And we ended up falling down quite a ways. So that was that. So we ended up possibly at 0.3 up for the European session this morning. And that's where we are. And then we've got our US stocks for this afternoon. So yeah, in terms of commodities, let's have a quick look here. So yeah, nice opportunity here in crude, in Brent, sorry. Okay, so this is actually a real-time trade idea here, guys. Don't think we're too far away. I mean, that's, yeah, a little bit far in, but it's not too bad. So that trade idea right there, guys. I actually like this. This is a nice retest. That's a solid breaker structure. Let me just double check my bearings. Yeah. Yeah, that's sound. That's a sound idea. We got a technical risk factor. I'd say the technical risk factor is probably at the lows here. So you got a TRF down there at around 76.45. Demand's going out of oil at the moment, and so it makes sense for it to trade lower. And to be honest with you, over time we have just done nothing but continue to trade lower. We didn't hit our area for the short up here. This would be a very, very small intraday trade. But I mean, the parameters are there. I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, generally speaking, I'd be like no, because I just want to wait and take a long from this area in here. That is what I would usually say. So I'm very aware of that. And I think I'm gonna probably remain with that bias team. So wait for the market, scrap that altogether. I don't want to do that one. I'm gonna wait for that turnaround. Be fussy. Wait for the rejection from this area, nice breaker structure, and then I'll be looking at taking this trade in two parts. First part would be, wherever it is, we'll mark it out properly. That's going to be your first 1 to 2.7, and then we're going to have approximately another 1 to 2.5 up there, over a % return. So I like that. Looking at gold at the moment, still waiting, really. Breaker structure areas here, that's really nice. Looking to trade these two the margin between these 2 points. Not really looking to trade anything down here at the moment. This is nasty. Lots of bottom feeding action. So we'd be looking at taking a long. This is pending. Okay, guys. Now, I'd follow my levels pretty closely here. 1 to 2.7 ish. Yeah, 2.7. Sorry, 1 to 2.3, 2.7. So I don't want you guys putting your pending orders like that, directly above. It's not what I want. We're looking for a nice margin above. Want to clear out the highs. Want to look back. Are there any sort of risk here and here? Well, yeah, there are. But I want to get my order in above those. So my pending is going to be up there at 2508.92. Target profit's obviously going to be the floor of the zone above. Stop loss approximately the 50% point between these two for a 1 to 2. And that's going to be pending order. Okay. So lock that one in, should you wish. So in terms of a lot of these Aussie pairs, I really like the AC long. Good breaker structure point. We've taken this trade like 3 times now, I think. Clear out the, flush out this debit liquidity down at the bottom just to make sure the bulls are really interested here. Look at taking the trade idea up to either the median or the top of the range. Every other time we've taken it to the top of the range. This one failed its attempt. But I think if we go to the top of the range, even with our stop losses where they are automatically placed, is going to give us a pretty decent sort of trading margin there. As a 1 to 3, okay? So I would say Aussie CAD long yet again. Big trade idea this time around, 0.77% return on this one. So it's a pretty good yielder, and we'll leave that on there. It should trigger very soon. Aussie yen, a lot of these markets that really collapsed overnight are going to offer decent buyback opportunities. I don't want to get too stuck into it too quickly. I have to let the dust settle a little bit. But this area in here, for example, is a pretty decent area to consider buying in. We do have a TRF at approximately 99.30, but I think a breaker structure above there up to the little point liquidity at around 99.50 would be ideal. So if we just look at that one, for example, and there, this is the trading margin. Going to get your target up at the floor of that area there. You break a structure point again. All BOS trading here at the moment. Obviously, we've been done with the BCR stuff yesterday. It was a bit of an odd day for our criteria barriers to entry, but that there is the precise area that we would want to be getting involved in. So that's going to yield around a 1 to 1.8. Aussie NZD. Potential short. We do have the breaker structure here at the moment. To be honest though, I'd probably be looking for a BCR, this one actually team. So looking at this here, going to make that a 15-minute break close retest. Target profit's going to be down at this area in here as well, so that's quite nice. Decent trading margin. Wait for your breakout, your retest, your continuation, then look to trigger the trade. Obviously pending orders available after the retest has completed its motion, so that's going to give you around a 1 to 2.2, for example. So that was a short. Aussie dollar, no thank you. CAD Swiss, we're done with. Yeah, I don't really want to trade that one anymore at the moment. CAD against the yen. We already have yen exposure here, so I'm not going to go in the CAD yen. Euro was, I'm going to give that one a rest, to be fair. That one's done and dusted now. Euro yen rest. Euro NZD is done. Yeah, nothing more on that one at this time. Wait until tomorrow for that one. Obviously the GC's running already. Pound against the Swiss, no. Pound against the yen. Still got that long up there, don't we? Waiting for that one to get going at the moment. We're a long way away from it at the moment, so I may actually wait until tomorrow and then remove that if it's nowhere closer. But I'm not going to be looking to trade this one now. I don't think, anyway. No. Cable, no. Waiting for the breaker structure above here, looking to put the margin in. This one, team, you might be able to actually now trade. So, obviously looking at the BOS here, target profit there, stop loss nicely under that area in there. So you'll be able to take a screenshot of that. That's the potential trade idea there for GU. GU potentially long. NZD CAD at the moment, looking at this one, no, I don't think so. It doesn't really have the trading margin there right now. NZD Swiss, no thank you. We've got the full retest completed down to around 52.72. We do have the move back here, which is a possibility, maybe trading the range that could be forming possibly between these 2 points, but it's not hugely successful. So yeah, no, not going to trade that one. NZD-JPY, no thank you. NZD-USD, we've got a break close retest of this one. Could be potential W reversal play, but I don't like this margin, so it's going to be a powering back up, break close retest on top of there, and then a continuation to the upside. If it's short, we do have a lot of TRFs in the way, unfortunately, because I was thinking maybe we could get the breaker structure underneath here. I like this trading margin, don't get me wrong, but we have major TRFs all over the place with this NZD-USD. I want to clear those out of the way before we get back to trading it again. So, you know, possibly that, but again, it's a bit sketchy. You could possibly look at that breaker structure for a trade though. I think that's all right. So I might try my luck at this one. Breaker structure down here, NZD-USD short, entry, target, stop loss 1 to 2.35. Let's put that in the market. That's going to go in as a pending in the next 10 seconds. USD CAD obviously still running on that one. Secondary already triggered, so that's looking good. USD China, that's already complete, and I don't want to do anything in the USD Yen, USD Sing. So now quickly have a flash over to our US stocks. US stocks at the moment, yeah, yesterday was okay. It was all right, all things considered. I think today we've got this recent break close and retest on the 50-minute time frame. It is a flag formation as well. So we have our sort of area here, and we have the one above. Really nice little flag on the 50-minute time frame. We break down below this area. We're going to be looking at the next target profit down. The next decent one down, I'm probably going to say, is around this area here on the 15-minute time frame. It's a pretty optimistic one for a 1-minute chart, but still, if we go down to the 1-minute time frame here, the margin is absolutely acceptable. We have a TRF that you need to be aware of. The TRF sits here at around 1941.50 to 19.396. However, that is not something to necessarily fear this afternoon. The short is going to take place there, but only on proviso the market's bell has already rung. I don't want to see any trades being triggered in the first 30 seconds or something. Let's wait to see that structure get broken and then go for it. The trade idea is probably going to look at something like this, maybe a 1 or 2.8, which would be pretty decent. Alternatively, we'll be looking at a trade idea above the breaker structure point here. Don't worry about this, guys. This is just representative of the top of the flag. If we break structure here, we're out of the flag anyway. So then if we look at the long target, that's going to be a breaker structure point entry there, target profit there, and you're probably going to have your stop loss at around this area, just underneath covering these highs and the moves. We can already see, actually, I've already got a second-hand one that I can just pull in from yesterday's trading. So that's probably going to be that trade for a 1 to 2. So that's not too bad at all. This is problematic. With 2 o'clock, it's already triggering. If this keeps on falling, then we're ultimately going to be looking at this being the next trade idea by that 2 o'clock area. So we're probably going to be looking at a 1 to 2.3 down there as well. If it falls all the way down by the market open and we're trading sort of down at around the 1936 area, wait to buy back from 1935. Do not just randomly take a long in the middle, because it's unprofessional, it's bad practice, and you probably pay for it. Now, looking at the US 30 Dow Jones. US 30 Dow Jones, let's check the anchor chart. Anchor chart at the moment is telling us pretty bearish. We have broken structure once. We haven't broken structure twice. We're on top of a pretty major level of 15-minute liquidity. So if we just drag a zone in through there and across to the left, you can see that this is actually quite a decent inflection area for price action. We've had a fake out here, but it's been a very big influencer here, possibly even here as well, quite a big influence. So now and again, it's not perfect, but it has had enough of interest that we can utilize that in our strategy for this afternoon. We've got these points here, which are quite nice. So I would be looking at the trade that took place there and back up. Breaker structure, nothing else required, no BCRs or anything. Looking for the breaker structure down, target profit at the top of the zone below, and your stop loss just above there for a 1 to 2 risk reward ratio, something like that. So that would be your short. If it's a long, then it's a little bit problematic. Frankly, we've got TRF sat right bang in the middle, as it usually is. We have a potential entry point from a BOS, which is in here. So you could be looking at a long in the US 30 Dow Jones from about there up to the previous high, but we are looking at really slim pickings here, team, and I'm not a fan of it. So what I'm going to say today is the US 30 Dow Jones long is going to be off the cards. Okay, that is off the cards. We're okay with the short, but we don't want to take the long in the Dow. If you want to go long the stocks, then we're looking long in the NAS 100, and that's what we're going to be sticking with. All right, guys. So I appreciate most of you guys that have been in the server. You're going to be, yeah, it's not ideal. I have no idea why the sound's not been working. You'll be able to see on the recording itself when you watch this that everything seems to be running fine on my end. So genuinely have no idea what's been happening, but I will get to work and try and sort that out as soon as this is done. I've got my orders locked in. And yeah, I do apologise for that. Hopefully this upload makes it to you in good time and you can get on from there. So have a great day, guys. Again, sorry about the lack of the mic working. And yeah, have an awesome day, and hopefully we can try and knock a few out the park this afternoon. See you then. Bye bye.